We just finished our first week of the Quest for the spring semester. If you're unfamiliar with the Quest is a men's ministry here at Calvary, and we meet 2 times a year. We meet for 6 to 8 weeks in the fall, 6 to 8 weeks in the spring. So this is the kickoff today of our spring semester. So this semester we're covering the topic unstuck. So every semester we do a different topic, and this morning we had probably about 200 men here for coffee and biscuits and sausage and to hear a word. And so guys, if you're in the Central Louisiana area, we'd love to have you. We have 5 more weeks that we're going to be meeting 6 o'clock every Friday morning here at Calvary. But each week I'm also going to do a video recap of kind of what we discussed for folks that couldn't be here or just want to share this post with others. So the topic this semester is called Unstuck. All of us have something in our life that we need to be unstuck from. So that thing may come to your mind just right off the bat, or you may have to think about it, or God may have to show you what you need to get unstuck from. But all of us need to get unstuck from something. Unstuck from just the struggles that we have day after day after day that we never can seem to get past. Well, only God Himself can get you truly unstuck. So today we started out with just kind of laying the groundwork of where we are as men. So we started with manhood realities. There are about 8 manhood realities that we discussed. So the first manhood reality is men are in a state of confusion. Many men don't have a greater vision for their life other than going to work, going home, raising kids, being married, retiring, and then dying. That's about as big as vision that gets for most men. But God has called us as men to a bigger vision. But men are in a state of confusion. You can just look around our world. Men are unsure of their roles these days. They're unsure of the roles they should have in the family, in the workplace, and all the different areas. But we need men. We need other men to come alongside men to point them in the right direction, to point them on what God says a man should do and what God says a man should be. But there's no doubt men are in a state of confusion. Secondly, a lot of men are experiencing disappointment with life. They graduate high school, they graduate college, they get the good job, they have the family, but they're disappointed at the end of the day. They say, is this all there is to life? Many of them had this dream of what life would be like, and it's not quite there for them. Maybe it's adventure. Maybe they say, hey, I don't have no adventure in my life. Well, we'll make the argument over the next several weeks that the most adventurous life you can lead is a life that's devoted to Jesus Christ. Number 3, men carry around unresolved pain. Men don't just naturally talk about their pain. They're taught to stuff it. We're taught to not talk about it. We're taught to just jump right back up and not tell anybody about our hurts or our pains. That's just not true either. We need other guys in our life that are going to hear about our pain, that we can share our pains with. You may be going through something right now and you think that you're all alone. You are not all alone. Someone else has experienced exactly what you're experiencing. So men are in pain. So our solution to that is first and foremost a relationship with Jesus Christ. But secondly, we want to get men connected with other men in other men's groups or men one-on-one. But men have to open up and they have to share with each other what's going on in their life. And that's what the Quest is all about. The Quest is a connection point for men to connect with other men. Number 4, men are lonely. Most men can't even count on one hand how many really good, intimate friends they have. Men don't have tight, deep relationships with other men. It's just, again, it's not how we've been trained. It's not how we've been brought up. We've been brought up, you do your own thing and you don't open up to anybody else. Men are lonely. And so lonely men do destructive things. So we live in a friendless, disconnected society. Now, we are the most technologically connected in the history of the world. We can talk to anywhere, any place, at any time, but yet we're disconnected relationally. We're disconnected with looking somebody else eye to eye and talking about intimate things, talking about things that are important, that are deep, that are spiritual things, or our pains or our struggles. But guys, we need other men because men are lonely. Number 5, men are drifting. Many men have no greater purpose for their life than just the daily grind. And when men drift, bad things come as a result. Number 6, men turn to escape. They turn to escape, to mask pain, loneliness, to mask the disappointment. They turn to alcohol, to drugs, to pornography. The list goes on and on and on. It's happened for thousands and thousands of years. It's nothing new. But men mask their pain by going after self-destructive habits and behaviors. So men turn to escapes. Number 7, confused men create major problems. It's been documented over and over and over. The best predictor of criminal activity is someone's gender. Males commit 90% of all the murders, 88% of all the robberies are committed by men, 75% of all the people arrested are men. Hurting men, lonely men, disappointed men, disconnected men create major problems. And there's collateral damage that happens in families and in communities and cities all around us. And then lastly, men will settle for less in life. Given our natural tendencies, men will just settle. We'll settle just for the less part of life instead of going for things like leading and cultivating relationships, cultivating other people to grow in their faith, initiating, adding value to people. These concepts are so foreign to most men that it's unbelievable. But men opt for less in life unless we're challenged to go to that next level. So that's what we're going to be doing over the next 6 weeks here. We're going to be challenging guys to take it to a new level. Take it to a new level with their walk with God. Take it to a new level with their connection with other people. So how did we get here? There's a whole long history of how men got here. We'll post that video that I showed on this site, but there's a long history of men with all these characteristics, but it's happened for generations and generations that's brought us to this point. So what's the solution? The solution is a person. The solution is a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so if you've never made that decision, I'd encourage you to pursue that. And we're not just talking about church attendance. We're not talking about putting a few bucks in the offering plate and going to a men's gathering or a men's retreat. We're talking a real, growing, vibrant relationship with a person, and that person's name is Jesus. If you've never asked him to take over your life, I would encourage you to do that today. But unfortunately, a lot of people have done that. They've done that, but yet they're seeing no growth in their life. They're seeing no fruit in their life. So I gave the picture of 4 people. The first is a person, just a guy, we'll put the pictures on the site, but a guy, just a scrawny guy that thinks he has power, that represents the non-believer. The next one is a guy that has on a jersey, and he's on the sidelines of a game, NFL game, but he's not dressed out, and he's just taking selfies. So that may be a Christian, is a Christian that accepted Christ, but they're ineffective because they're just on the sidelines, they're not even dressed out. The third person we talked about is somebody that's dressed out. They've got the uniform on. They did all the practices for the game, but they're sitting the bench. And they're pretty comfortable there. They're pretty comfortable sitting the bench and not getting in the game of real, authentic pursuit of these things that we're talking about. And then there's the guy that's on the field, the guy that's bloodied and his grass stains on his pants. These are the kind of men that we want to be. These are the kind of men that we want to be in relationship with on a deep level with other men. Guys that are in the game, guys that are fighting for other men, guys that are fighting to pull other men out of the muck of this life. That's the kind of men we want to be. And with that comes great adventure. So that's just kind of a recap, kind of what we talked about today. We finished today with the definition of manhood that we'll continue to talk about the next several weeks. But a real authentic biblical man is one who rejects passivity. He's not just going to stand by and let things happen. He accepts responsibility. He accepts responsibility for his family, but he also accepts responsibility for his own shortcomings. Number 3, he leads courageously. He leads his family, he leads folks at work, he leads other people into a relationship with Christ. He leads courageously. And lastly, he invests eternally. Everything he does is about investing eternally in other people's lives, to bring other people in a relationship with Jesus Christ. So that's our working definition of what a real authentic man is from a biblical perspective. We'll continue to build on this the next several weeks. But great being with you this morning. Men, don't hesitate. You don't have to attend Calvary to come to the Quest. So please jump in here with us 6 o'clock every Friday morning at Calvary. We'll have a hot cup of coffee, a biscuit and sausage for you, great fellowship, a time of teaching, and you'll walk out here invigorated in your relationship with God. And that's the whole purpose of what we do, to invigorate guys and to get them connected. So great seeing you, and keep up with us on the page. We'll be posting updates from time to time.